Got a 2003 Mercury Sable, single cam 3.0 V6. What it is, customer complaint was a surgeon. I assumed that the intake tube was bad, was loose. When I got it, it didn't have any type of symptoms, but it was obviously loose. There was really no accurate description of the symptoms, so went with what I knew and tackled that intake tube. I just did it just now. So called the customer, hey, this is what you got going on. Everything they described seemed to be the intake tube, and unfortunately on my end I got very little information, even though I tried to try as much as I can to get as much information as I can from the customer, because they know their vehicle better than me do. So when the AC's on, that surge you just heard is what was causing the conditions that they were complaining about originally. So I can already tell you, I put a mechanical gauge to it. Let me do that right quick. So this is the gauge right here. Let's put a quick gauge connected to it. Now I had my other gauge set hooked up, the one with the inlet, high pressure side and low side on there. But I mean, they were still showing the same. I just wanted to compare the information. But you can see that once the compressor discharged, how slow it rises. It was honestly a lot slower than this. Once it hit a certain point, it'll get that surge, it'll deactivate and then come back in and activate. So what I want to do is hook my scope up to the pressure sensor here, this dual pressure switch down there, and I'm gonna hook it up to the high side. There's one that's going to the computer and see what I see. If it's just like a gradual ascend, I'm assuming. If it has a gradual ascend, then it shouldn't be having a point where it would cause the surge and idle. Because I'm pretty sure if it was a more rapid pace like normal AC systems would, I mean, when it falls off, it usually goes double the speed of what it's going now. But I think what happens as it goes over to the high side, it gets to that point where I got this marker here. It gets to a point where it gets stuck, and it then that surging, the issue is the issue manifests. See, it deactivated and activated. I don't think it's a pressure switch issue, because I mean, just how slow it's climbing. It seems more like an obstruction from just past experience with the orifice. The orifice, if I recall, resides in here. Now, I didn't do none of this stuff on here. It's my first time ever getting this car. So I just want to graph the electrical circuit and see exactly what this pressure switch is putting out. And I mean, I can compare the RPM. So I'm gonna do that right quick and see if I can, hopefully I can get some type of information if that happens. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hook up to 3 and 4. This is connector C1062. I'm gonna hook up to the pressure switch high output and the AC pressure switch, the AC2 AC cycling switch. So now on enhance. So I'm gonna hook up to those, see what happens, and see what's going from there. Alright, so what I got I checked the pressure switches. I just had them hooked up there, and I got to thinking, I'm like, well, why am I checking those when they're should just be on and off? Something evidently has to cycle the switch. Once I found out through Identifix, it's called a what is it? Air conditioning evaporator temperature sensor. Those are located in the dash, and if I recall properly, it's controlled through the PCM as far as the cycling goes. So what I hooked up to, I just want to make sure that the car wasn't trying to engage the compressor. Phone call. All right, so I hooked the red lead up to the compressor side, to the clutch, and I just want to make sure that that clutch wasn't just trying to engage or seeing a blip of current or like a drop of current. And obviously when it gets to that 50-ish psi on the low side, that's when it starts to act up. It should do it, but it's not. I'm not seeing any type of drop in current or anything, or a small influx of current. So evidently I'm still suspecting that there's an obstruction in the system here. If the pressure isn't rising sufficiently, well, yeah. So it still leads me to believe it's something pressure operated though, because I can't imagine. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of thinking on this one. That huffing, because when I did check those pressure sensors, I didn't see any type of drop. Also, I saw it was just basically just 12 volts, and I'm pretty sure those pressure sensors only just signify to the PCM that, hey, yeah, there's adequate current here. It's either going to be on or off. So this huffing episode, yeah, this is confusing me a little bit. If I scope which I'm probably not going to go all the way through this process, because this is kind of a little extra right now, what I'm doing. So the evaporative temperature sensors in there, it could be the culprit, because if the PCM has to idle up the vehicle, or that's depending on like the current or like an interpretation of how that operates, it could have a spot where it's getting stuck, and if it's getting stuck, then it could cause that surging. But what I could do is scope the known good side. Well, I'm assuming that the driver's side is going to be good, and probably something on the passenger side. I'm gonna have to do a little more digging on the how the AC system works on here. But the only thing I really know right now is at about 50 psi, it begins to huff and surge at times, surge at idle, as if the compressor's trying to engage, but I don't know. Do a little thinking. Alright, so the AC, the evap temperature sensor, this is what it's going to look like. And I got the glove box down on the passenger side, and it resides right up there. I'm gonna go by the recommendations of diagnosing this, and I want to scope it too. I'm going to do it and see what happens if there's any type of flaw in the flow of current. So let me get all this stuff set up. Alright, so okay, so I got the connector disconnected for the evap pressure sensor there. The tan and orange wire is supposed to be supplying voltage, which is 4.5 volts. And when I connect it, there shouldn't be any type of voltage drop. But when I do, this is what happens. Go back up there. Look at that. Alright, so I got my voltage scale on focus on 5 volts. I'm on channel B. I think my channel is broken. Anyway, the voltage dropped from 4.6 to 3.5. Let me see if I can leave it in there and let it cycle. I'm gonna see if I can put a minimum measurement on here also. Alright. I wonder if I put a trigger, what would happen. There we go. So I'm gonna wait for it to do its thing with the surge. I want to see if it'll do it. There you go. It just did it. All right. Yep. Look at it. Look at it. It did it again. So look, yeah, I'm not sure if that's, if it's falling off completely, but it should show that voltage though, like it's falling off. I'm not sure what's happening there, but the voltage is low. What I'm gonna do, there's 2 on here. It says it's supposed to be another one on the driver's side over there. I'm gonna swap them out and see if the voltage is gonna be the same and if it's dropping off, because this definitely is a no-no from what I understand. The voltage should not be dropping off like that. I'm gonna go swap the other one out. So this car does not have 2 of those sensors, the temperature sensors. This doesn't have a dual climate, from what I understand. That dual climate is the only model that's going to have dual sensors. So anyway, I ordered a new sensor that's coming in tomorrow. Part number is lost because I literally had it and I'm not that bright and I just literally forget where I put things sometimes. So I think it was like 197C735 or something like that. But anyway, this car also has issues with the ABS sensor. What's happening is the ABS unit, the ABS will unit, look at it, just kind of engage. I think because it's going to do a test. The ABS will engage while you're like applying the brake in some instances, coming to a stop. It says no faults at the moment. I was able to retrieve a code yesterday. It was in regards to a left front speed sensor. I'm gonna pull up all the sensors here and I'm gonna pull up the ABS motor relay, because when that activates I'll be able to see it, see if there's any codes. I'm going to left front, right front, those 2 speed sensors. Why is it showing miles per hour right now? It ain't doing nothing. I wonder if that's like a false reading. Well, look, I'm gonna put it this way: all of them are there, so I'm not gonna question it as long as they're all the same at the moment. Control valve. All right, so I think that's all the live data I want. I'm just gonna leave that right there. So I just need some basic pits. So what I'm gonna do, which is not recommended, I'm gonna drive it. This, and when it activates, I'll be able to see it. Autel is not that great with recording information. I mean, when I do press record, when I try to go back and review the data, it wouldn't upload the values. It'll show the names here, but it wouldn't upload any type of value. I don't know. I guess it's just a flaw with this. So it's kind of useless when recording information. So if you have a buddy with you and you're driving just to see what the computer sees, this is helpful. But when it comes to narrowing it down and getting to the pinpointing what's going on, this is not going to help you out, because you have to find out if there's any type of compromise with the sensor or the reluctor wheel. So I'm going to check and see what's going on with this. If there's a fallout on this left front speed sensor when it does occur, and when a code comes up, I'll tackle that issue. You know what? I don't even have to go that fast for it to start showing signs of its inability to operate. So I'm just gonna leave those checked. I'm just gonna slowly pull off and go about 5 miles an hour. You'll see that front left wheel speed sensor isn't doing anything, so I want a straight road, so you'll see that it's not doing anything. It's stuck at 1.24. It is activating now. See, like when I left the brake and go slow, it doesn't do anything. It's lagging. Alright, so I'm on the left side now. I got the wheel off, and I was doing a visual check on the ABS sensor here. One thing I do notice, I wonder, yep, that's what I figured. Look at that right there. I knew if tone ring isn't lined up properly with the sensor there. Look how it's about to hit the rotor right there. The rotor, what is it? It's not hitting the rotor, it's hitting the is that the wheel bearing? Yeah, it's gonna hit the wheel hub assembly. Yeah, the bearing bolts. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try and bring this tone ring back and line it up. I don't know how well that's gonna work, but I don't even know anyone can see it that well. I'm gonna try to, I ain't never seen that happen before. See if I can bring it back and line it up. Maybe it'll work, maybe not. Probably may have to replace the CV axle. I don't even know how in tarnation it got like that. Let me give this a try and see what happens. But yeah, that was, yeah, imagine if you would have shot a part of it, it wouldn't have worked. So, all right, let's see what happens. So yeah, no, I tried moving it, and this joker's just as loose as it needs to be, as it wants to. I mean, I'm gonna have to recommend replace the CV axle, and I might see if you can do ball joints also on this side, since they are obviously worn down. But all right, let me make some phone calls and see what I can do. Aftermarket parts, man. I don't know. You know, I wonder, like, what if a car was entirely made of aftermarket parts? How well would it work? Weird. All right. Let me let me make some phone calls and get some numbers together for this customer. See what we want to do.